Toxic masculinity, at its core, is a distorted and harmful interpretation of what it means to be a man. It's a set of expectations, behaviors, and attitudes that promote dominance, aggression, and emotional suppression, while denigrating traits such as vulnerability, empathy, and compassion. This narrow and rigid concept of masculinity casts men into a suffocating mold, pressuring them to conform to stereotypes that equate manhood with power, control, and emotional detachment. At the heart of toxic masculinity lies the belief that men must prove their masculinity through conquest, competition, and the assertion of dominance over others. This often leads to destructive behaviors, such as physical violence, emotional abuse, and the objectification of women. It discourages men from forming deep emotional connections as it associates vulnerability with weakness. Consequently, men who adhere to these toxic ideals may find themselves isolated, unable to express their emotions, and locked in a perpetual struggle to meet unattainable standards of strength and stoicism. This toxic mindset, propagated through various societal channels including media, family dynamics, and peer pressure, has far-reaching consequences, both in fiction and reality, that we cannot ignore. To further illustrate the insidious nature of toxic masculinity, let's turn our attention to another example from both the world of fiction and reality. One poignant illustration of toxic masculinity can be found in the character of Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man, from the Marvel Universe. While Stark is a genius inventor and a hero, his earlier depictions often embodied some of the harmful aspects of toxic masculinity. He was portrayed as a playboy, excessively self-reliant, and dismissive of emotions. This archetype suggests that a man's worth is determined by his wealth, sexual conquests, and the ability to solve problems through sheer force or intelligence, while neglecting emotional intelligence. However, what makes Tony Stark's character so compelling is his evolution throughout. He gradually sheds these toxic traits, becoming more compassionate, cooperative, and emotionally aware. This transformation underscores that even the most deeply ingrained toxic masculinity can be unlearned and replaced with healthier expressions of masculinity. In the realm of real-life examples, let's consider the world of professional sports. Athletics have traditionally been associated with hypermasculinity, with athletes often pressured to demonstrate physical dominance, emotional detachment, and an aversion to perceived weakness. This can have devastating consequences, as athletes are less likely to seek help for mental health issues or injuries, fearing it might compromise their image of invincibility. Thankfully, there has been a shift in recent years towards more balanced expressions of masculinity in sports. Athletes like LeBron James, who openly advocates for social justice and shows vulnerability by discussing personal challenges, are challenging the outdated norms of hypermasculinity. This shift not only benefits athletes' mental and emotional well-being, but also sets positive examples for future generations of men, emphasizing that strength can coexist with empathy and social responsibility. These examples remind us that even in domains where toxic masculinity has deep roots, change is possible, and progress is attainable through self-awareness and a commitment to growth. Uncle Iroh, a beloved character from the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender, stands as a remarkable embodiment of positive masculinity. His character resonates with audiences of all ages due to his wisdom, kindness, and the authentic way he navigates his role as a mentor, uncle, and father figure. Let's delve into why Uncle Iroh is such an exceptional example of positive masculinity. First and foremost, Uncle Iroh redefines the notion of strength. In a world where bending elements and physical prowess often dominate, he showcases that true strength is not just about physical might, but also about inner strength, emotional resilience, and empathy. His journey is one of self-improvement, reflecting a willingness to acknowledge his past mistakes and strive for personal growth. This vulnerability challenges the stereotype that men must always appear infallible, encouraging viewers to embrace their imperfections as opportunities for growth. Secondly, Uncle Iroh embodies the nurturing and compassionate side of masculinity. He exudes warmth and empathy, particularly in his role as a surrogate father to Prince Zuko. Throughout the series, he offers guidance and support to Zuko, emphasizing the importance of balance, inner peace, and making amends for past wrongs. His devotion to helping Zuko find his own path to redemption exemplifies that positive masculinity includes being emotionally available and empathetic, qualities often overlooked or suppressed in traditional notions of manhood. Lastly, Uncle Iroh's appreciation for the arts, music, and philosophy underscores the importance of well-rounded interests and emotional expression. He is seen composing music, sharing tea, and engaging in philosophical discussions. These pursuits showcase that masculinity doesn't require the abandonment of sensitivity or creativity. On the contrary, Uncle Iroh demonstrates that embracing these aspects enriches one's life and contributes to a more balanced and fulfilling existence. In essence, Uncle Iroh's character in Avatar: The Last Airbender serves as a beacon of positive masculinity. His journey, marked by self-discovery, emotional intelligence, and a commitment to nurturing those around him, challenges the narrow stereotypes that have plagued masculinity for so long. By celebrating characters like Uncle Iroh, we not only broaden our understanding of masculinity, but also provide valuable role models for individuals of all genders, encouraging them to embrace their full, authentic selves. The real-world consequences of toxic masculinity are far-reaching and often devastating. This harmful paradigm places immense pressure on individuals, particularly men, to conform to rigid and unrealistic expectations. One significant consequence is the stifling of emotional expression. Men are frequently discouraged from openly discussing their feelings, which can lead to emotional suppression, mental health issues, and strained relationships. By perpetuating this stereotype, society deprives men of a crucial outlet for understanding and processing their emotions, ultimately impeding personal growth and well-being. Another alarming effect of toxic masculinity is its contribution to aggression and violence. The emphasis on dominance and control as markers of manhood can lead some individuals to resort to aggression to assert their perceived masculinity. This can manifest in various forms, from physical violence to emotional abuse. The consequences extend beyond the individual, impacting families, communities, and society as a whole. By promoting aggression as a masculine trait, we perpetuate a cycle of harm that hinders progress towards safer and more harmonious societies. Furthermore, toxic masculinity plays a role in perpetuating gender inequality. The idea that certain traits or roles are exclusive to one gender limits opportunities and self-expression. It reinforces stereotypes about women being submissive and men being dominant, which, in turn, affects women's access to education, employment, and leadership roles. Breaking free from these stereotypes is essential for achieving gender equality and fostering an inclusive society where individuals are free to express themselves and pursue their aspirations without being confined by their gender. The real-world consequences of toxic masculinity are evident in the emotional suppression it encourages, the violence it can incite, and the role it plays in perpetuating gender inequality. Recognizing and challenging these harmful norms is essential for fostering healthier, more equitable communities where individuals of all genders can thrive. Breaking free from the constraints of toxic masculinity is not only liberating for individuals, but also a crucial step towards creating a more just and compassionate world for everyone. The toll of toxic masculinity on mental health is a deeply concerning aspect of this issue. From early childhood, boys are often taught to suppress their emotions, leading to emotional illiteracy. This suppression can result in a profound disconnection from one's feelings, creating internal turmoil. As men grow into adulthood, this emotional detachment can translate into higher rates of depression, anxiety, and even substance abuse as they grapple with unresolved feelings. By promoting emotional suppression as a norm, we exacerbate these mental health challenges, which left unaddressed can have severe consequences. Furthermore, the pressure to conform to stereotypical masculine ideals can lead to profound isolation. Men may feel compelled to distance themselves from emotional expression, making it difficult to connect with others on a meaningful level. This isolation can lead to feelings of loneliness and alienation, exacerbating mental health issues. It's crucial to recognize that the expectation of stoicism and self-sufficiency, while touted as strengths, can become severe impediments to seeking help and support when it's needed most. The mental health toll extends to society as well. A society where mental health struggles are stigmatized and where toxic masculinity persists suffers from decreased empathy and understanding. It is only when we break free from these constraints and foster a culture that encourages open dialogue about emotions and mental health that we can hope to address the profound toll toxic masculinity has on the well-being of individuals and communities alike. The mental health toll of toxic masculinity is manifested through emotional suppression, isolation, and societal stigma. Recognizing the profound impact of these issues on mental health is crucial for individuals and society at large. Breaking free from the constraints of toxic masculinity means embracing emotional expression, fostering meaningful connections, and creating a more empathetic and supportive environment for mental health and well-being. Breaking the cycle of toxic masculinity necessitates a multifaceted approach. First and foremost, we must redefine masculinity itself. We must celebrate qualities like vulnerability, empathy, and emotional expression as strengths, not weaknesses. Educators, parents, and role models play a pivotal role in teaching young boys that it's okay to cry, to seek help when needed, and to embrace their full emotional spectrum. This reshaping of ideals should be reflected in media, where depictions of men can evolve beyond narrow stereotypes. By presenting a more inclusive image of masculinity, we empower future generations to grow without the toxic constraints of the past. Moreover, comprehensive education about consent, respect, and healthy relationships is imperative. These topics should be integrated into school curricula and community programs. Men and boys need to understand that true masculinity is not about domination, but about fostering respectful, equal, and empathetic relationships. By providing these tools, we equip individuals to recognize toxic behaviors, intervene when necessary, and promote a culture of respect and consent. Breaking the cycle requires collective effort. It's a journey that involves society as a whole, and each of us has a role to play in dismantling toxic masculinity and fostering a healthier, more inclusive world. In the journey towards dismantling toxic masculinity, the role of positive male role models cannot be overstated. These individuals serve as beacons of a more balanced, empathetic, and constructive form of masculinity. They embody qualities like emotional intelligence, vulnerability, and respect for others, which stand in stark contrast to the harmful ideals perpetuated by toxic masculinity. Positive role models offer a roadmap for young men and boys, demonstrating that strength is not solely defined by physical prowess or emotional suppression, but by integrity, compassion, and self-awareness. One such example of positive masculinity is Fred Rogers, known to many as Mr. Rogers. His gentle and nurturing demeanor, along with his commitment to teaching kindness and empathy, transcended generations. Mr. Rogers redefined what it meant to be a man by emphasizing the importance of emotional expression, empathy, and acceptance. His timeless message that it's okay to have feelings served as a counterbalance to the stoic and emotionally repressive archetype of masculinity, demonstrating that true strength lies in understanding and embracing one's emotions, as well as in treating others with kindness and respect. Through such positive role models, we can reshape the narrative of masculinity, instilling in future generations a more inclusive, empathetic, and emotionally intelligent understanding of what it means to be a man. A fundamental aspect of dismantling toxic masculinity is the recognition that gender equality is not a zero-sum game, but rather a shared journey towards a more equitable society. Empowering women and embracing gender equality is not only a moral imperative, but also a way to break free from the constraints of toxic masculinity. When society promotes equal opportunities, respects women's agency, and encourages their leadership, it challenges the traditional notions of male dominance and female subservience that toxic masculinity thrives on. By actively supporting women in various roles, from leadership positions to creative endeavors, we not only uplift half of our global population, but also dispel the myths perpetuated by toxic masculinity. It sends a powerful message that men and women are equal partners in shaping the world, debunking the outdated stereotypes that paint men as the sole providers of strength and leadership. True equality allows both men and women to express their authentic selves, free from the rigid expectations of gender roles. As we champion gender equality, we pave the way for a more inclusive and diverse society that benefits everyone. breaking the cycle of toxic masculinity for generations to come. In conclusion, the battle against toxic masculinity is not just a battle for men. It's a battle for a better society, one where all individuals, regardless of their gender, can thrive free from harmful stereotypes and expectations. As Batman, I've faced my share of adversaries, but none as insidious as toxic masculinity. Together, we can be the heroes of our own stories, dismantling this destructive force and forging a path towards healthier, more balanced versions of masculinity. Thank you, and may we all find the strength to rise above the shadows.